At the back of the end zone for a touchback. And so the Broncos will come out first and 10 at their 20-yard line to start from scrimmage in the third quarter.
I think a big factor in this second half is who's not here for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that is a big factor.
They are missing Ehrenberg. He's out with a pulled hamstring. They are missing John Stallworth. He's out with a pulled calf.
Wolfley won't play again.
Wolfley won't play. So Denver's defense can roll to Louis Lips every time.
To the run they go. Sammy Winder doesn't get much, fighting his way to about the 22 or 3-yard line straight ahead. Steelers knock it down with their inside backer. Keith Willis, the end, was also across to make the play. So it's going to be second down, and they'll call it 7 where they stop the ball at the 23. Now Gary Dunn's coming out. He's been playing on a bad ankle all season, the premier defensive lineman for the Steelers, coming off with another bad limp. Mark Catano goes in to play the nose tackle. Elway brings Watson in motion. Sammy Winder trying to go wide. A good defensive play by cornerback Rick Wood. Knockdown is made for no gain, so it'll be third down and 7.
And they're dropping like flies. We got Wilhite with an ankle sprain for the Denver Broncos. Lewis Wright already out for the Denver Broncos, the cornerback. So it's a matter of who's going to be left to play the last quarter.
Re-injured in the course of action, and now Steelers have lost 3 frontline players. Elway hit as he throws. It's incomplete, so it's 3 downs and out for the Denver offense on their first possession of the third quarter. Steeler defense gets a standing salute at Three Rivers Stadium. John Elway goes off, and the punter, Chris Norman, comes on for Denver.
Keith Gary with the pressure hit Elway in the back just as he released the ball. Couldn't get it out, and that's 3 wasted plays. I would have expected more out of Denver in that situation.
Louis Lips is back to return the punt as Norman's ready to hit it, standing with ready for the snap inside his 10-yard line.
This guy can turn a football game around like that.
Louis Lips taking 2 back for touchdowns this season. He'll run this one back from his 43. Good coverage, though, by the Broncos as they hem him in and throw him back. 34-yard punt, an 8-yard return. The Steelers go on offense as there's a Bronco down on the field.
He's moving his feet, so no matter what the injury is, that's always a good sign.
Yes, it is.
We know it's not a neck injury.
So while he's attended to, a break in the action will come back after this. Hunter, covering on the punt, took a hard block. Helmet got him in the head. He was knocked out, but he's all right. Now the Steelers go with their best start of the drive, best field position of the game, 49-yard line of Denver. Abercrombie. And he's brought down with Dennis Smith coming and getting him.
Don, watch this hit. Watch this hit. Hunter standing there. Can't pick up the number of the guy who hit him, but he hit him right flush in the temple. And he had a phone call. Phone was ringing. He didn't answer it till he got to the sideline. But he's all right.
At least he's better than he was.
Yes. They're asking him where he is, what day it is, what his number is, what his name is. He's not sure about anything.
Right now, the Steelers have a second down, 13 play. Woodley against the big rush. Rulon Jones running him down, and the throw is just short. They set up a screen play that could have gone a long way had Woodley gotten the ball a little higher, but Rulon Jones took care of that. Cincinnati Bengals with a 28-13 lead over Houston now.
Houston is leading also, Cleveland is leading also, so his second half now for Pittsburgh crucial. Look at there. Those guys out, will not play the rest of the game.
Stallworth and Wolfley starters. Ehrenberg, a very important spot player, came into the game with 28 catches for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Third down and 13. Woodley lofting a ball. It's short of Calvin Sweeney. A man, Weegee Thompson, is knocked down, and a penalty marker comes in. Steve Foley's clapping his hands like he thinks it's going to go against Pittsburgh.
I think it's going to go against Dennis Smith of the Denver Broncos. The way Pittsburgh's walking, it looks like a they're discussing there, was the ball catchable?
Interference, 49 defense.
Dennis Smith.
Yep.
This time Denver once again with that four-man rush. Mecklenburg on the line of scrimmage. And a lot of people back there in the coverage. Smith right now at about the 45. There you see the contact. Arm on the arm. Officials ruled the ball might have been catchable. The interference call is good.
Good second look. Our producer today for NBC Sports is Steve Danz. Our director, Andy Rosenberg, as the Steelers go 1st and 10 after the foul call against Denver. Good defense on the play. Coming up to make the hit was Mike Harden. Just as the ball came in, he freed it from Calvin Sweeney. So it'll be 2nd down and 10. Trump?
Don, one of the things now that Pittsburgh faces is with Stallworth out of the ball game. Weegee Thompson and Calvin Sweeney are both good receivers, but they don't measure up to John Stallworth. So what Denver can do is roll their zones to Lewis Lips. Just simply take him out of the ball game. And look at the yardage there. Well, we need the receptions between 2 running backs and 2 wide receivers.
2nd and 10. Abercrombie looks for room to go, and he is hemmed in as the Bronco defense pursues him, then holds position as he cuts back. Marnie Chavis was waiting, and Dennis Smith ran him down from behind. A 7-yard loss on the play. So after a big effort to start the 3rd quarter by the Steeler defense, now the Denver defense comes out and takes command.
You know, you ask why they won't get their tight end into the offense in this day and age, and I wondered that myself. I watched them in a couple of patterns, and I saw why. I think I can run faster than Benny Cunningham.
Then he kind of relegated to an extra offensive tackle. He is set to the left as the tight end. Not having a great year. He's caught 2 balls all season. Big rush. Woodley eludes it, but only for a moment. A 4th sack by the Denver defense, and Mecklenburg was the man who got him.
Don Rulon Jones from the other side flushed him. Mecklenburg, his 3rd sack of the ball game. Watch from behind the offense. You see Jones outside of Gary Long, and then Mecklenburg there to make the tackle. Oh, they have really flushed David Woodley.
And it's still a 10-6 game as it was at halftime. Vance Johnson waits the punt. Newsom hits it downfield very high. Ball takes the Steelers skip out of bounds inside the 15-yard line of the Broncos. And there, John Elway and the Denver offense will go 1st and 10 when we come back. A 36-yard sideline with re-injury of his sprained ankle. Very important and longtime member of the NBC broadcast family. Cameraman Lou Gerard went down with an ankle injury yesterday here at Three Rivers. Fortunately, fractured it in 2 places, so we want to extend our very best wishes to Lou for a quick recovery as Elway throws, and Lang coming out of the backfield catches it, but not for much. He's out to the 16-yard line. Little was right there to pop him.
Mark Catano is now playing the nose for the Pittsburgh Steelers, replacing Gary Dunn. See him right there in the middle of all that mess on Billy Bryan. A good shove. This, I would say, is the most important drive of the ball game for the Denver Broncos. This is their worst field position to start a drive. The wind against them, you can't expect Norman to have a very big punt. They need 2 or 3 first downs here.
Broncos have not been a 3rd quarter team of late, have not scored a touchdown in the last 7 third quarters. They lead the game, does Denver, 10-6. Elway from his 5. Time running out. Watson. Looks like Clarence Kay has the ball out across the 25-yard line. If it's ruled a catch, and it is, it's a 1st down for the Broncos.
Oh, big play.
Elway bought himself some time.
Steve Watson was wide open, about 10 yards deeper than that. Watch this roll by Elway. Most coaches feel that once this kid gets out of the pocket, he's more dangerous than he is when he's standing in the pocket. He breaks a lot of rules, throws it late back into the middle of coverage, and still picks up the 1st down to Clarence Kay.
So the Broncos move it out, get a 1st down at their 27-yard line. 3rd quarter, Denver leads the game at 10-6 on an unusually warm December day in Pittsburgh. Winder coming out of the backfield. Woods playing strongly at right corner came up to break up the play. Don Crickey with Bob Trumpy and Paul Zimmerman as we pause briefly for station identification. Now Gary Duntrump is back in the game, bad ankle and all.
We heard from the sideline that he could not play anymore, but he's back in there.
He didn't hear it.
Not every time you call a defensive back making a tackle being closer to play today, it's been Rich Woods, hasn't it?
Yeah, he's made a lot of plays. Elway taking a look. Incomplete at the 28-yard line. Sewell, the rookie from Oklahoma, coming out of the backfield. So it brings up 3rd down and 10 now for the Broncos at their 27-yard line. 9:32 to play in the third quarter. Score stands as it was at the half. Denver 10, Pittsburgh 6. Both teams coming in and co-leaders in their respective divisions. The Broncos and the Raiders tied in the AFC West at 8 and 4. The Raiders in a late start go today at Atlanta. They're favored to win there.
Pittsburgh with 5 defensive backs, Don.
Crowd starts up. Elway guns it down, and the ball is broken up by Dwayne Woodruff. The best cover man in the Pitt secondary, who's been sidelined with nagging injuries, starting today, and he makes the big play on 3rd down, and now the Steelers will get it back in good field position.
Don, if Dwayne Woodruff doesn't hit this ball at the top of the screen, you see him, he chucks the receiver. Watch Donnie Shell, left-hand side of the screen. I think Shell's in a spot where he can just about make the interception. Watch him. Oh, no, he's saying, Dwayne, if you don't hit it, I got it. It was close.
And the ever-dangerous Lewis Lipp standing back there at his 30-yard line. Number 1 punt returner in the American Conference. Not that deep a punt by Norman. Lips gets it on the run. And again, the Broncos with good coverage knock him down after a short gain. A 36-yard punt, a 7-yard return to the 45-yard line. Pittsburgh goes on offense in Saginaw, Michigan. Right now, the Steelers with only 2 field goals to show against this tough Denver defense take over 1st and 10. Steelers trailing 10-6. Long ball downfield. There's a strike. Well thrown ball by Woodley to Calvin Sweeney off the far flank. And Calvin Sweeney from Southern California runs under it for a 26-yard gain, and the Steelers start to mount a challenge against the Broncos.
Don, the Denver Broncos come with a double rotation zone. Corners up, safeties out. This is a perfect throw by Woodley. In back of Harden, in front of Smith. Oh, that is really putting it on the money. Big catch, Sweeney.
Back to Abercrombie. He does turn the corner and takes down a defensive back and gets inside the 25-yard line. Steve Wilson, who had that spectacular first-half interception, came up to make the play for Denver. There's a good gain inside the 25-yard line, a pickup of 6 yards on the play. 7 where they spot the ball. It'll be 2nd down and 3.
Well, you have no idea how big a catch that was by Sweeney.
Nice throw, too.
They were absolutely trying to shut out Lewis Lips, and Sweeney comes up with a big catch, and now Pittsburgh has life.
They get some good people on Lewis Lips, including safety Dennis Smith, who's come across to double up on him. Here's a flat throw, and again, Sweeney comes up with the ball. It's good for a 1st down. His forward progress was inside the 15-yard line. The clock's running in the third quarter, 8:55 to play in it. The Broncos continue to lead 10-6, but now the Steelers are getting down close.
That was almost a disaster. David Woodley did not get that ball cleanly from the center. And Don, Steelers have scored 19 straight times when inside their opponent's 20-yard line. Watch this snap. Look at there. That thing is almost on the ground. Woodley grabs the back end of it. Still completes the pass for a 1st down.
Scored 19 straight times, but not many have been touchdowns. They've been stopped down close, and that's why Anderson has so many field goals. Abercrombie accelerating. He's to the 11-yard line, a gain of about 4 on the play. Steve Busick, inside backer for the Broncos, made the knockdown.
This kid's got great acceleration. Also a good eye for the blocks. Cut right inside that pulling guard block. Big pickup.
Abercrombie out of Baylor was the number 1 draft choice for the Steelers in 1982. Ball position, as you see, at the 11-yard line. Steelers trail the Broncos 10-6. Clock running. 7:50 to play in the third quarter. Matchup of divisional co-leaders. They've not met since the playoffs of last December. Here's a throw and a breakup. It was Steve Wilson who broke up the throw. Lips claims he was fouled. The official right there says it was clean.
looked at the official right away. I think he knew he did something wrong there.
Got away with one, though.
He hadn't done much wrong today. He's done a lot right. Steve Wilson in his 7th year from Howard University. And the game clock down to 7:41 in the third quarter.
It's a little slant pass by Lewis Lips. He only has one catch on the day. Wilson all over him.
Third down and 7. Coming up for the Steelers, they trail by 4. A draw play, and Pollard takes it down close to the 5-yard line. Woodard threw him back. Tony Lilly was also on the play. Big Barney Chavis off the bottom of the pile.
Here comes Anderson again. Coming into this ball game, in the last 5 games, Terry Anderson has scored 41 points. The rest of the team just 48.
He gets 6 more today. He's been the offense today, at least the point production. Now trying to make it a 1-point game. He can cut the Broncos' lead to 1. 24-yard field goal attempt on the way and drilled up and through. And so, with 7:02 to play in the third quarter, a third Gary Anderson field goal brings the Steelers back to within 1. David Woodley, a respectable day, and certainly they trumped that very important throw to Calvin Sweeney that subsequently set up the field goal. Was a big part of the last drive as the Steelers, with only 3 field goals to show for their point production, all by that man, Anderson, is now down by 1. A long kickoff downfield. It's going to be into the end zone, and Gene Lang elects not to bring it out. So the Broncos will go first and 10 from their 20 with 6:57 to play in the third quarter. Now let's go. Thank you, Ahmad. Your old team from stand and call, at least today. They're only a game back in this division of the AFC Central at the start of the day. Crowd making it tough for Elway and the Bronco offense to call signals. Sammy Winder, quick move. It's just remarkable how he's come back from that arthroscopic knee surgery. Now the Giants have come from behind. They were down to 21-7 to Cleveland. They've come back to take a 23-21 lead. Eric Schubert just kicked a field goal, but he also missed an extra point. It could be expensive by day's end. Philadelphia looking to go to 7-6 on the season. The Vikings are injured, and they've not been winning. They've lost 3 straight going into that one. New Orleans leading the favored Rams. And the Broncos with the ball, second down and 6, holding to a 1-point third quarter lead. Elway. Fastball, first down throw out to the 33-yard line. Vance Johnson coming back at the ball. He's not big, but what athletic ability. At Arizona, he long jumped 26 feet, 11 and a half inches. That was the best in the NCAA.
And this kid's a rookie. He does a great job here. You'll see him right behind Hinkle, right in the middle of the screen. When Hinkle turns around, he realizes where the dead spot is, turns around. Elway gets the ball right to him, just enough for a first down.
Vance Johnson, there he is, the fastest man in the last draft and the fastest Bronco ever as the Broncos on first down. Power the ball at the right side of the Steeler defense for not very much. Darrell Sims, the #1 draft choice of Pittsburgh, 99, starting to play better. Weren't quite sure what they had at the start of this man's career. Didn't do much.
Hoping for the best out of him. Chuck Noll, a real taskmaster, too. When you don't do your job, he lets you know about it.
Tell you one thing, he looks like a football player. Big, very fast.
Pittsburgh now with a 4-man front. Dunn and Catano in there on the 2 guards.
Ball is the 37-yard line of the Broncos. Elway stands in against a 4-man rush. Again, he buys time, and this time David Little slaps the ball back at him. Linebacker David Little, whose brother Larry was an integral part of those Miami Dolphins Super Bowl championship teams in the early 70s, slaps the ball back.
Now let me make this comment on John Elway. You would think that eventually teams would pick up that the only way he seems to roll, on whatever way he rolls the first time, he seems to roll that way all day long. Today he's going to his right. We've seen him in other games against San Francisco where he only rolls to his left. Maybe it's by design.
John Elway says of his own running ability, he's not fast till he's chased. Now he has to contend with tremendous crowd noise. Catch and a big hit. That was the rookie, Darrell Sims, who made the strike and the knockdown as they tried the shuffle pass, which worked earlier. That time, a knockout punch was put on Gene Lang by Darrell Sims. So the Steeler defense holds again.
This is a pass completion by John Elway. Sims this time not fooled. He's the defensive end watching the right-hand side of the picture. He's standing right there, and Kawapa, he nails Gene Lang for a loss. Norman must punt.
Chris Norman on the field to punt the ball for the Broncos now to his 21-yard line. Lewis Lips is back, and the cry you hear is Lou. Lou, they love him in Pittsburgh, and with reason. He can take it the distance. That time an angled punt carries out of bounds inside the 30-yard line. And it's fouled right at the 31. So the Steeler offense comes out a 33-yard punt as the Steelers get a couple of big plays in their top draft choice, Darrell Sims. Next. First and 10 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, down by 1. A throw and an interception, a second of the day. Picked off by Steve Wilson. And he's not done yet as Wilson's back to the 40-yard line. So Wilson has been the defensive player of the game, and he comes up with a second interception, and he's slow getting up. Came in for injured Lewis Wright and did a big job all day.
Don, that ball was not thrown very well by David Woodley, and he knows it. He threw it way inside Lewis Lips, who had Wilson beat. Woodley shaking his head there. Now watch this reception. Lips again off the line of scrimmage, shows blazing speed when he gets Wilson turned. Now watch how far inside he throws this ball, Don. And Lips is open on the sideline. Second interception, only the second turnover by either team today.
Talking to Art Rooney Trump at halftime, he said the Chicago Bears, who we'll be seeing on many of these stations next Sunday, as we take a second look, and you'll see Wilson step in, another perfect coverage for his second interception. He said the Chicago Bears are the best team in football because they believe they are. They're absolutely convinced nobody can beat them. He said we had teams like that in the 70s here in Pittsburgh. They knew they were the best. Now a tip ball by Elway comes in, and David Little almost had a play on it. It'll be second down and 10 as the Broncos are holding to a 10-9 lead. They led 10-6 at halftime.
I think John Goodman got his hand up, tipped that ball away. This is the best field position to start a drive for the Denver Broncos so far today.
The day in Pittsburgh is darkening now. It was clear and sunny. It's still very warm for a December 1st. There was a threat of rain. That's what they said yesterday. None yet. Here's a handoff. Sewell breaks it open inside the 30. And Steve Sewell rockets on down to the 26-yard line where Dwayne Woodruff finally got him, but it was a 14-yard gain, and the Broncos move on into field goal range.
About the only thing the Denver Broncos rushing have been able to do consistently are the draws, or the delays. You see this, a good job by the right guard of the Denver Broncos, Keith Bishop. Sewell with that great speed up there, knows where that first down marker is, and picks up 14 for the first down.
Gene Lang is out now for the Broncos. He's having a hand x-rayed in the locker room. Right back to Sewell. Big, lanky, angular back with tremendous breakaway speed and big power at 6'3", 210. David Little and Robin Cole, the inside backers of the Steelers, converged on him. On a first down carry, Sewell got ahead to the 24-yard line, a gain of 2. Third quarter.
In the third quarter.
Field goals big, though, would extend the Broncos' lead to 4 points. Steelers haven't been in the end zone all day. They're 9 points coming on 3 Gary Anderson field goals. The third quarter clock ticking down. Broncos leading 10-9, second and 8. Elway out to Sampson, the man who scored the Broncos touchdown. He's thrown back, a loss on the play. Dwayne Woodruff came up to make the play from the left corner.
That didn't work at all. That's a slip screen, and generally there is at least one man out in front of the receiver to block Dwayne Woodruff, who is the man in coverage. That time Pittsburgh faked the blitz. Donnie Shell right up in the line. And I think Elway just took the best he could possibly do. Third down and 8 now.
The lights are on in Pittsburgh as Dan Reeves looks down from the sideline. Broncos have only converted 1 of 8 to previous third down attempt. Elway's going to take it himself.
Oh!
He didn't come close. John Elway got to the 21-yard line. It'll bring up a 38-yard attempt now by Rich Carlos.
Donnie tripped over his own foot. Absolutely went down by himself. Credit him with a 3-yard gain and a tackle. Watch what happens. Nobody touches him. He just doesn't pick up his... Right there, he catches his toe. Right down. And I tell you what, he had enough to pick up the first down, too.
He's 29 yards, 39 yards where they set it up. Carlos stands in, hits the ball up. And Rich Carlos, miseries continue. He's not had a great year. So the Broncos, despite the big play by Wilson, the interception, cannot come away with points. 1:36 to play in the third quarter.
And you see Tom Jackson walk up and pat him on the butt. That's all right. You'll have another chance. You'll get it. He's kicking into the wind there, that breeze. And it seemed to make the ball hook a little more than usual.
He's just not hitting the ball the way he did last year early in the season.
I agree with you.
Paul Zimmerman.
The interesting thing is they can't get Lips into their offense. Gone deep to him twice, and Wilson's intercepted twice.
Lewis Lips, the intended receiver on the Wilson interceptions now. A knockdown made at the 20-yard line as the Bronco defense comes out smoking. Abercrombie is thrown back for a 2-yard loss. Busick, an underrated inside linebacker, made the play. Big shoes to fill. He's the man that took over for Gradishar.
I'll tell you, Dr. Z is right in there now, double rotating to Lewis Lips' side. They got a man short and underneath and one deep and outside. They got Lewis Lips covered any way and in every way they possibly can.
New Orleans front must like Wade Phillips from Sun. They're now in front of the favored Rams 19-3. Woodley throws and a ball is off the fingertips of Calvin Sweeney at the 35-yard line. It's clean. There's no flag.
Harden, good coverage.
Broncos are down to the third cornerback on the left side. Now Wilson limped off after the last play, and you've got Randy Robbins, a backup strong safety, trying to cover Lips. I watched him on that time, and he gave him a strong bump inside, but they're going to have trouble on that side.
They're dropping like flies today, aren't they?
A lot of players have gone down, particularly for the Steelers. Randy Robbins, normally an extra defensive back, playing the left corner now, and Lips is against him. Although Tony Willie's come over to double up on him. They could be going that way on 3rd down and 12. Woodley's looking at that play. Dennis Smith tried to get Woodley. He forced into a straight-ahead run, and then the sack was made. A 5th sack by the Bronco defensive, David Woodley.
Good call by Collier on that particular instance. They had double coverage on both outside receivers. Blitz the safety, Dennis Smith, who gives his body up for the team, diving right over Pollard. And Mecklenburg is credited with another sack. That's his 4th of the afternoon.
That's the most sacks against the Steelers this year. 5 times. Woodley's been sacked today. A good punt downfield by Newsom. Vance Johnson trying to turn loose the Heat, but he can't break free, and there is also a marker down at the line of scrimmage. Dennis Smith limping off for Denver. A 45-yard punt, a 6-yard return. But the call is against the Steelers. It'll come back. 10 seconds to play in the third quarter. Denver without points in the second half, still holding to a 10-9 lead.
Downfield, illegally on the kicking team. Penalties refused.
Yeah, they're going to take the ball down.
43 yards.
Yeah, they are. That's a pretty good field position of 43. So the Broncos will go from their 43. It's a bonus anytime you get it outside your 30.
Yeah, advantage is, too, 10 seconds left in the third quarter. When they turn around, Denver will have the wind, however so slight, at least at their back instead of in their face.
You have to wonder if John Elway is an itchy to throw one of those first down fastballs now. He's put it in a number of times against the defense, but he goes to the run. Sewell trying to turn wide, and there's not much there. He did well to get a yard, and that was all out to the 44-yard line. Woodruff came in from the left corner. David Little was also on the play, and that's the end of the third quarter with a score Denver 10 and Pittsburgh 9. We'll be back after these messages. People in the National Football League or any league, Art Rooney, who started the Pittsburgh Steelers in 1933, one of the founding fathers of this league, along with George Halas. Looking on as the Steelers fail the Broncos 10-9. John Elway again rolling out against the run. He's doing, and again Little breaks it up. David Little trailing on the play in zone coverage, just reading Elway's eyes. He's broken up 3 passes as we look at the third quarter numbers, Mr. Crumpy.
Well, let's see. Time of possession for the Broncos only by a little. And the yards rushing, the Steelers need about 140 yards rushing per game.
4 wide receivers in the game. Brooks Johnson picks up the near flankers. Elway throws high and makes the connection down to the 48-yard line. Vance Johnson, sure-handed, coming back with the ball. Third down play, though, will be about 2.5 yards short of a Denver first down.
You got to count that as a rookie mistake. On third down and that much yardage, you've got to run that pattern deep enough to get the first down, and I think you see Dan Reeves on the far sideline telling Vance Johnson exactly that. Get the first down, son.
John Elway has now thrown the ball 33 times, has completed 18 for 163 yards and a touchdown. Louis Lips, he doesn't fair catch him, and he can go the distance. Well hit ball by Norman. Lips won't be able to take that one, and it hops out of bounds inside the 5-yard line. Walk out.
Wow.
And so a well-done hit by punter Chris Norman. Paul Zimmerman, this is Don Crickey, Three Rivers Stadium, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the home of champions, they call it. In the last 11 years, 4 Super Bowl winners have been on this home field, all those great Steelers teams and a world championship team of the Pirates. Now, Pittsburgh trailing by 1 with Woodley throwing from his end zone. He has a strike out to the 19-yard line. Louis Lips coming back at the ball, makes a big play.
Steve Wilson, again in the coverage. He is hot lips. You got to respect his speed, especially down here. Even though if you're Pittsburgh running about 5% of your offense, you know that the defensive backs are going to give him plenty of cushion. Woodley that time just took advantage of it. Good play action fake.
Bronco defense, Trumko, doing a good job shutting down the run. In his last 6 carries, Abercrombie has only 3 yards. So as the game wears on, the running has been even. Total yardage. Here's a handoff to Pollard, and he is out close to the 24-yard line on first down. Got about 5.
Don, just to show you the job Denver's done on Pittsburgh, even though it appears Lips has been a big factor in this football game, he's only got 2 catches for 29 yards.
In a game of standout defensive play, Steve Wilson called down to replace injured starter Louis Wright. He started the game, did Louis Wright, but went out. Wilson's come up with 2 interceptions. It's 6 for the year now. And the Bronco defense comes busting through to make the knockdown in the backfield. Back at the 18-yard line on a 2nd down and 5 play, the Steelers are thrown back.
And Carl Mecklenburg that time, you see him lined up as an outside linebacker. Now, Frank Pollard is the man who was trying to block him. Mecklenburg runs right over him. There to make the tackle. And once again, Abercrombie loses yardage.
Mecklenburg and A.J. Dewey play alike when A.J. was in good health at Miami, right down to the 7-7. Same number. Now 3rd and 9. Ron Jones putting on heat. He might have gotten the throwing arm. And here is an interception by Tony Lilly.
You called it. He's just touched the football time. Rulon Jones just able to get his hand on the football. Took all the zip off the pass by David Woodley. Lilly with the interception.
Our guest Paul Zimmerman has notes here that the KGB and the CIA couldn't decide. We want to check to him in a minute and see what his observation is at this point. That was the play, a free ball, and Lilly makes a diving interception. So the 3rd pickoff of David Woodley, and the Broncos get the ball at the 42-yard line of Pittsburgh. Denver holding to a 1-point lead with 12:04 to play in the game. Straight ahead carry will bring it inside the 40-yard line, down close to the 38.
Don, you got to give credit to this Pittsburgh defense. Once again, the offense has been erratic. The 3 turnovers by the offense, and the defense, over there, the defense has kept Pittsburgh in this ball game. Denver's had outstanding field position, and they've only gotten the ball in the end zone once.
Second down and 8 for John Elway and the Broncos. Winder. All on the carry, a 2nd consecutive of time. After a 2-yard gain, he gets about 3 more. So it'll be 3rd and 5. Paul Zimmerman.
I think what's going to happen is that Pittsburgh is going to have to get the ball in good field position because the wind is picked up, and Woodley throwing into that wind without that strong an arm is going to be big problems for them.
The gusting wind, swirling wind.
Don, add another factor to that. Outstanding pressure today by the Denver Broncos. Their defense, I never thought that they would get to David Woodley 5 times.
Broncos only 1 of 10 on 3rd down conversion. This is 3rd and 5. Throw and a strike and a first down for Denver. Watson down on one knee fields the ball and makes a big play for the Denver Broncos as a perfect throw by John Elway down low so the defense couldn't slap at it, and Watson sure-handed took it in.
And the veteran goes deep enough to get the first down. Watson's first catch of the day. You see the crowd of people there. Watson kind of gets lost. Elway just guns one in there. Last time they tried to do that, they went to the rookie Vance Johnson. He didn't have enough yardage for the first down. Watson gets it.
He's been outstanding right through the last 5 years. Only James Lofton has caught for more yardage in the NFL. Vance Johnson, he's a sprinter. But he's not going to sprint through that, so he's going to throw the ball, and nobody's going to be close to it. Had a bad arm, but he was overshot his man by about 10 yards.
Didn't fool anybody.
Tell you one thing, Vance Johnson might be fast, but Keith Gary was ready to put him into the turf.
Merriweather right over it. You see Johnson going in motion. He comes back. Steve Watson, an intended receiver here. He didn't fool anybody. It did not work. Watch Merriweather all over him. He just throws it so they avoid the sack.
2nd down and 10 now comes up. Ball just inside the 30-yard line of Pittsburgh. Elway's got a man. Watson wide open. Deep, Woods deep, and came right back at the ball, and the Broncos are down to the 12-yard line of Pittsburgh. 18-yard gain. Dan Reeves says to Steve Watson, he makes spectacular plays. You say he can't top that, and he'll come back a couple plays later and catch a better one. That was just a great route run.
4-man rush by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Full coverage back there. Woods again. There's no question that when they had their choice, they wanted to go to Rick Woods' side. That time, Watson just ran down about 15, 16 yards and stopped dead. Elway hit him.
We have 9:14 to play. The Broncos have not scored since the 2nd quarter. The touchdown came on a 24-yard throw. Here's a handoff to Sewell, and he's hitting in.
No flags.
No flags are down as Steve Sewell takes it in. A 12-yard touchdown run, and the Broncos go from a 1-point lead to a 6-point lead. A 7-point lead. 3rd touchdown of the year for Steve Sewell, the #1 draft choice from Oklahoma.
Well, they get the defensive line caved in. Watch Sammy Winder out in front. A decent lead block. Not outstanding, but he makes contact. Turns Woodruff around, and then Sewell's outstanding foot speed gets it into the end zone.
6-play drive. 41 yards. The big connections, though, are the Elway throws to Steve Watson. Then the touchdown run by Sewell. The extra point is good by Carlos, so the Steelers need 2 scores. They trail 17-9. Denver kicks it off. Steve Sewell's 12-yard touchdown run for the Broncos gives Denver a 17-9 lead in the 4th quarter, 9 minutes to play in it. Kick is hit downfield. Lewis Lips is bringing it back. Lips gets out to the 30. Tony Lilly on special teams play. Used to have gorillas, and
Hot Lips Louis.
The most prestigious award in American Empire from Auburn. NBC with a special report, an hour special show at 5 next Saturday Eastern Time. 1985 Heisman winner. Long ball downfield. Sweeney makes the move out of it, can't get to it.
Look at Woodley. All day long, the Denver Broncos have been all over the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback. That time, Jones and Mecklenburg right in his face. And eventually, the quarterback gets a little gun shy, throws it a little quicker. Look at these last 3 possessions. Denver Broncos defense has been outstanding.
Broncos have taken control of the game as it's worn out. Finally, in the last drive, they got the big hits on the throws by Elway, setting up the touchdown run by Sewell, and the Broncos lead 17-9. Pollard looking for room, and he gets up to the 39-yard line. He'll be short of a first down on a 2nd and 10, but not by much. Mike Harden ran him out.
In case you tuned in late, it's the missing offensive weapons of the Pittsburgh Steelers that's been the biggest factor in this football game, John. Ehrenberg out with a pulled hamstring. John Stallworth not on the field with a pulled calf. And Pittsburgh's not been able to get the ball down the field. Lips has been covered and covered well by Steve Wilson most of this day.
They finally go to the tight end, and Woodley hits Denny Cunningham. The 6'5", 265-pound tight end out of Clemson. That's only his 3rd catch of the year, and only the 4th to a tight end this season.
He gained 3 yards.
Whatever it takes, first down.
You can see he hits the linebacker and then releases. Woodley almost throws it through him, not to him. Tony Lilly on the tackle, but a first down for Pittsburgh.
Time becoming a factor for the Steelers. The game clock ticking down to 8 minutes and running, and the Steelers need 2 scores as the Broncos have opened up a 17-9 lead. Woodley looking deep. Firing back. Sweeney comes back at the ball. He's down to the 34-yard line. Mike Harden was victimized at 23-yard gain.
Once again, the outstanding speed of these wide receivers. Sweeney now for Pittsburgh, along with Lewis Lips. He just ran Harden off in coverage. Watch at the bottom of the screen. The acceleration by Sweeney. You see when Harden turns, that's when the receiver breaks out. Ball already on its way. Sweeney's 5th catch. 89 yards so far today.
Double coverage on Lips has given Sweeney one-on-one. They've been looking that way. Here's Pollard trying to make a move. He loses Ryan. And then coming up with Foley with a roll shoulder tackle. The touchdown's made at the 32-yard line. First down carry was good for about 2 or 3. Giants, who are down 21-7, have now opened up a 33-21 lead on the Cleveland Browns, which will make Steeler fans happy. Cincinnati, if they continue, and it looks like they will, would be right in a tie for first place. It looks like we're going to have a 3-way tie for first today in the AFC Central. Wade Phillips, first game as coach of the New Orleans Saints, doing just fine against the favorite L.A. Rams. David Woodley, pump fake an end zone throw, short, but it's caught for a touchdown by Lewis Lips. His 12th touchdown of the season, his 10th TD reception, 31 yards.
Game breaker this kid is. Steve Wilson in the coverage, the ball underthrown. Lips survives the contact with Wilson in the end zone and comes back to get it. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, what a player that kid is.
3 receptions for Lewis Lips for 60 yards, and that touchdown, the extra point is on the way and good. And it is now 17-16 Denver lead. Defense hasn't given Lewis Lips the standout for the Steelers very much, Trump, but that play he got free and Woodley was there.
I'm telling you, put this pattern in a time capsule. Watch at the top of the screen. Lips absolutely freezes Wilson. Boom, boom, right there, and then accelerates by him. The ball is underthrown. Watch the adjustment he makes.
Wilson still is right there.
I'm telling you, that belongs in the time capsule. That is an unbelievable pattern and catch by Lewis Lips.
Now the kickoff by Anderson is hit deep. Vance Johnson from the 3-yard line for the Broncos. 20. Let him get open and you're chasing the wind, but the Steelers knocked him down, and so the Bronco offense comes out.
What a play. What a play by Lewis Lips.
Paul Zimmerman, what do you think the Broncos have to do to sustain this 1-point lead?
I think they have to hold the ball, and I think they have to worry about a defense that looked like it was cracking on that score. I mean, they've been on the field too long. The offense wasn't doing anything. They were ready to crack, and they did crumble a little bit. Now they've got life.
Well, now I look for the Pittsburgh Steelers blitz right here on this series.
Loud noise in Kent. The his people in position. Sewell and Winder. Langland out with an injured hand. Sewell, last time he touched it, you remember he ran for a touchdown. This time he sprints ahead for close to 5 yards. Taking a head-high hit from Keith Willis.
Pittsburgh's got to be looking for the turnover. You get the turnover with the blitz, they got to take a chance. There's 6:05 left. And, of course, every offensive coach would love to have 5 or 6 yards picked up on the first down. Makes it easy, and that's what Denver got. Sewell now 7 carries, 40 yards, and a touchdown. They got to go after him on this carry.
Broncos out to move the ball and run the clock, holding to a 1-point lead. Here's the blitz. Merriweather. Completed pass. Sampson takes it, but he actually lost a yard on the play out to the 32-yard line. So it brings up third down and about 6.
Don, I think Merriweather got his hand on that ball, and it still went to Sampson. They got to keep doing it.
They were looking for an airtight game coming in, and that's what we have. Denver Broncos holding to a 1-point lead, 17-16. 5:20 to play in the game. The clock is running. Watson wide of the top of your screen. That's where they might be going. Elway takes a look. Intercepted. Merriweather. One man to beat is Elway. Merriweather's going in, and the Steelers take the lead.
Yards on the return. Elway chose the wrong man to throw it to. Triple coverage.
Anderson gets the extra point. 5:02 to go. So Elway's first real mistake is turned into a go-ahead touchdown by the Steelers.
He didn't have to move a muscle. There is no pressure on Elway. He never catches sight. Never sees him. Perfect coverage. Obviously a big mistake by John Elway. That's the first interception return for a touchdown for the Pittsburgh Steelers this season. What a time, too. This defense has been unbelievable today.
So now the Broncos will get it back. Here's the play again from a different look.
This is a misread. You could see they had everybody up at the line of scrimmage. I think John Elway thinking blitz. They drop back in coverage. Merriweather, a room service pass, and he ordered it up. Elway delivers.
Vance Johnson at the 3. Look out. Johnson, open field. And finally caught by Dwayne Woodruff, but Elway and the Bronco offense start out in good field position, trailing by 6. A 39-yard return by the sprinter from Arizona, Vance Johnson.
John Elway's got to go out there and make up for it.
And he can.
Watch Johnson. He gets it on the right-hand side of the field. Good acceleration. Woodruff, the safety man, makes the tackle, and that's his job.
Again, the crowd noise intense. Elway tips back to Winder. He's ahead for about 2 yards, and that's all. David Little, the inside linebacker, came up to make the play. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
Don, you see what this crowd has done to the Denver Broncos, and John Elway took him out of the shotgun. He's got to go up underneath the center, Billy Bryan, and take every snap. Listen to him.
109th straight sellout at Three Rivers Stadium. The yellow and black. Proud colors in Pittsburgh as they go after John Elway. He looks, he throws. Almost intercepted by Brian Hinkle.
Intended for Clarence Kay.
Big down now for the Broncos and Elway. 3rd down and 8 comes up with 4:09 to play. 25 23-17. The Steelers have just come from behind to take the lead on an interception and a subsequent return for a touchdown by Mike Merriweather.
Yep, thrown for 2 touchdowns. One for us and one for them.
Sampson and Watson come wide right. What's Johnson at the top of your screen? 3-man rush. Now a linebacker starts in. Here's the throw. Watson has the ball for the Broncos at the 37-yard line. Another perfect play to Watson when the Broncos had to have it. 19 yards and a Denver first down.
Oh, that was a 3rd down and 9. Watch the time he's got. And then the gun. Wingo. That baby is there. Donnie Shell is not 6 inches from perfect coverage. And he gets it in there for a reception.
So the Broncos drive on. The clock running. 3 minutes, 34 seconds to play in the game. Denver trailing 23-17. He's down to the 31-yard line. A gain of 6 on the first down throw. Here's the first final and the first win for new head coach Wade Phillips as New Orleans beats the Rams 29-3. The Rams have lost like, 4 of their last 5?
What's happened to them?
4 of their last 6. Green Bay blanking Tampa Bay. Browns making it close. The game of much interest to AFC Central followers. New England up on Indianapolis in the 4th quarter. Elway ready to throw it perhaps for a 41st time. He's 23 for 40 for 211.
Here comes the blitz.
They pick it up. Kay goes for the ball, and he's got it for the Broncos inside the 5-yard line. Clarence Kay, a big blocking tight end from Georgia, runs the deep pattern. They double up on the wide receivers, and Clarence Kay has it right on his fingertip, thrown by Elway for 27 yards. It's 1st and goal, Denver.
You see the blitz again. Cole and Little coming. Single coverage. Elway puts it right on the money. Eric Williams in coverage, Kay an outstanding catch. Big play. Elway now 23 of 24 of 41 for almost 238 yards.
We're going to wind down now to 2 minutes as the Broncos deliver a superior play when they had to have it. Now they're in position to take it in and possibly go ahead. We have 2 minutes to go. The Broncos getting back downfield on the John Elway throws. Now ready perhaps Mr. Zimmerman to take it in and go ahead.
I think a lot of people are going to criticize that blitz call by Tony Dungy. I liked it. Make him beat you on great plays. It was a perfect play. If you don't blitz, if you lay back, they're tired now. It's late in the game. There's something off their rush. If you give him time, he's going to beat you on ordinary plays. This way, he has to beat you on great ones.
Yeah, but Dr. Z, I'll tell you, now we know why Tony Dungy does not want to blitz. He doesn't have the coverage people to keep track of these guys. Clarence Kay is not particularly a great receiver, not a very quick receiver, not extremely fast. He beat Eric Williams and beat him like a drum.
I don't think he beat him. I think he made a great play and outreached him.
Well, the ball's at the 4-yard line. That was a big play. I'll take it no matter how you get it, Z.
Now the Broncos have to contend with the crowd noise. Intense again as it builds up. Pitch back. Sewell looking to go for a second touchdown, and he's down to the 2-yard line on a 1st and goal run. Gain of 1.5 yards or so, knocked down by Dwayne Woodruff, who's made some key stops for the Steelers, and right now we're going to have a timeout signal by Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Defense calls timeout to give your offense enough time, if they get the ball back, to get it in the end zone.
Trail by 6 with 1:50 to play. Sewell down to the goal line, and there's the touchdown signal. The Broncos are in, and they've tied the game, in position to go ahead with the extra point by Carlos. 1:45 to play. So Denver comes right back down the field after they'd lost the lead on the interception return by Merriweather for the go-ahead score by Pittsburgh.
Now, there are a lot of people around the NFL who look at Denver and say they're lucky. 3 of the last 4 wins by 6 points or less. They are 21-8 in their last 2 seasons, 8-3 in games decided by 3 points or less, 3-1 in overtime games.
Ain't luck when you do it all the time. Hits the extra point up, and he gets it, and the Broncos take back the lead 24-23. Paul?
They had this situation last week against Washington. They recovered an onside kick. They had the ball, chance to come back with plenty of time left. They threw 3 straight incompletes and an interception. What I would do now is I would go in 3 wide receivers, get their nickel people in, run some draws on them. They have enough time to run a few draws, and that can get them in shape.
Well, let's remember what happened at the end of the first half. Denver went to the prevent. It was no problem for Pittsburgh to march the ball right down the field. If Joe Collier makes that decision again, Dan Reeves and the Denver fans are going to be coming right through the TV at him. And the touchdown, a nice sweep run by Sewell. Last time he scored on this play, but this time he cuts it up underneath. Sammy Winder out front. Little makes contact, but Sewell at 6'2.5", 6'3", stretches into the end zone. And the H block out in front.
Steve Dan's our producer today for NBC Sports. Andy Rosenberg, our director, as we have 1:45 left to go at Three Rivers Stadium. NC statistician Ross Schneiderman putting up the rushing yardage that the coaches thought was so important at the outset. Denver has 93 now, and Pittsburgh has 76. So the Broncos did indeed, as the game wore on, shut down the Pittsburgh running game, and they've taken back the lead. Straight ahead return out across the 25-yard line by Lewis Lips. Now, with 1:40 left in the game, Woodley and the Steeler offense comes out trying to get in field goal range. You recall now that the man who boots him for Pittsburgh is a long-range bomber. Anderson's hit from 52 this year, and he's made his last 13 field goals in a row.
Don't forget, Don, he's going against the wind. I'm looking at those banners now, and they're really flying.
Let's also pay very close attention to what kind of defense they deploy. 2, 4. This is 5 defensive backs now. Sweeney at least a step out of bounds. That would have been a dumb penalty to take because it adds 15 yards to the end of the play. It's all right to be aggressive, but last week Keith Willis gets a big penalty against Pittsburgh and hurt him. Sweeney now 6 catches, 99 yards.
Pat Bowlen, the president of the Denver Broncos in his second year as the owner, in a bright orange sweater. There's some orange in the stands today, but most of it's yellow. The yellow flags that are waved at Three Rivers. Here's an interception, and the Broncos are going to put this away. As down the field is Mike Harden in for a touchdown. 1:24 to play, and the Denver Broncos now go out in front 30-23 with the extra point coming up. A 46-yard return, and you talk, Trump, about room service.
Lucky. They keep calling the Denver Broncos lucky. You know, the better you are as a football team, the luckier you seem to be. It looked that time, Don, like Woodley had predetermined in his mind where he was going to throw the football. No question about it. That he had made up his mind where he was going. The coverage was there. It was an easy reception for Harden. 42 yards officially on the interception return. That's one for each team.
Mike Harden, 6-year veteran from Michigan, makes his 4th interception of this season and is in the end zone with it after the return. And now Carlett working to give the Broncos another 8-point lead, which he does. 1:24 to play, so the Pittsburgh Steelers all of a sudden find themselves just about out of luck.
Don, he was going to his tight end, Preston Gothard, on that, a reserve tight end who was in for more speed. He didn't see the double coverage, and I don't know why they'd want to double cover a tight end, but they did. They guessed right.
And, Z, do you also agree that he appeared to, in his mind, in the huddle, decide who he was going to go to? Watch once again. He doesn't look at anybody else. Harden is right out there to make the interception. I mean, it's simple. It's double coverage. Very poor choice by David Woodley.
I'm sure he thinks that now.
Yes. But, I mean,
just as John Elway did earlier, but
look at this. 15 of 32 for David Woodley, 227 yards, 4 interceptions.
That being the most critical.
Look, anytime a quarterback goes back, you've got to look off somebody. You can't keep staring at a receiver. Defensive backs are going to catch on.
So in the space of about 30 seconds on the game clock, the Broncos have come from behind and taken a commanding 8-point lead with 2 quick touchdowns.
You know, you have to wonder how much energy David Woodley has. He was in the hospital 2 days this week. He may be running out of energy.
Throwing against the wind.
Yep.
Lewis Lips returns the kickoff. He's run down and out of bounds. Coming up to get him on the play was Mike Harden. 1:18 left to go. Pressure on now. The L.A. Raiders in the AFC West. They'll be getting these numbers. All competing in this unique format. It's next on NBC Sports. And right now, Woodley will be throwing for all he's got. 15 down by 8. It's going to catch to Luigi Thompson out to the 43-yard line. Steelers, though, need 2 scores and have just 71 seconds to do it.
Randy Robbins in the coverage. As the scoreboard says,
Looks like there's going to be a 3-way tie in the AFC Central. The Browns would go to 6 and 7, so would the Steelers, and Cincinnati routing Houston would also be 6 and 7 at days. And I think the Bengals, Trump, probably are in the best position.
well, they got the toughest schedule, and Pittsburgh cannot hope for any ties. They must finish 1 game ahead of Cleveland because Cleveland has the better division record, and so does Cincinnati.
Cincinnati's beaten Pittsburgh twice. Here's the throw to Calvin Sweeney over the middle. He's down to the 46-yard line, a first down. The game clock ticks. 1:03 to play. Steelers have 2 timeouts remaining. Going into formation without a huddle, no timeout call. Another throw, another catch, but so what, say the Broncos. They'll give them the 8-yarders all day long, because all day has 43 seconds to go for Denver.
Don, if there's one prevailing factor in this football game, it's been that 4-man defensive line by the Denver Broncos.
Broncos have won a lot of exciting games in the 5 years that Dan Reeves has been their head coach. This has to be one of them.
No, I'm telling you.
Big win, beating a divisional co-leader on the road.
There aren't a lot of people who have given the Denver Broncos and Dan Reeves an awful lot of credit, but this is an outstanding football team, and they win on the road, they win at home, they win in the last second, they blow people out, they make up for mistakes. John Elway does. 13 and 3 last season.
They double cover tight end.
They double cover tight end at the right moment.
41 seconds to play. Steelers trailing by 8, down to 1 timeout. Woodley lets the rip, and it's broken up by Tony Lilly, who will do some hitting. 3 regular season games to be played. After this one for the Broncos, a big hookup with the Raiders next Sunday at Mile High Stadium. Most of you will see it here on NBC Sports. And on the following Saturday, the Broncos home again to play Kansas City. And then they head to Seattle for a Friday night game that concludes their regular season.
Sweeney, a big day. 8 catches, 119 yards, and there's who the Steelers have left.
At San Diego, and Buffalo comes in then after Giants. There's a throw and a catch by Preston Gafford down to the 14-yard line. The clock ticks down. 25. You see it winding on down, a 24-yard gain. Throw up the middle is broken away, and that was Mecklenburg driving. That's why they drop him back in coverage sometimes.
Yeah, he's everywhere. Also plays on special teams and one of their best special teams players. On the Pittsburgh Steelers today averaged 2.9 yards per carry. 76 yards on 26 rushes. And Joe Gordon told us last night, if they gain 137 yards rushing, they win. If they rush 40 times, they win. They did neither today and lost.
Thanks to Mike McGinley and Tim Fogarty for their help in the booth today as the game ticks down to 9 seconds left to go. Steelers trailing the Denver Broncos 31-23. A 6th sack. Wow. Rulon. Most sacks against the Steelers this season.
Mecklenburg's had 4, hasn't he?
And Mecklenburg has been put an S on his chest.
Quinchilton down.
Steelers have lost about 4 starting players, at least for the remainder of this day, with various injuries. Coach Chuck Noll has seen the highs and the lows. Came in here as head coach. First team had a 1-13 record. They, of course, went on to win 4 Super Bowl championships.
That's
a
a
good
play
run
by
against the
Rulon
Broncos.
Jones. He gets the quarterback down and he gets his man out of the game.
Yeah. Interestingly, though, worth repeating that during the 80s, Pittsburgh here, 29-13, but in that same stretch of time at home, they're only now 4-6 against AFC Western Division opponents. Isn't that strange?
They think it is. The Steelers aren't used to losing records, but they have one after this day's in. Here's another final in now. The Cincinnati Bengals go to 6-7, routing Houston 45-27. A track meet. This will be it. Steelers' David Woodley takes a look, lofts it into the end zone, and it's incomplete, and the game is over, and the Broncos rally to win. An inspirational comeback engineered by John Elway and some tremendous defensive plays as the Broncos put the game away when seemingly they were in deep trouble, and finally they go on to win it 31-23.
The injuries to the Pittsburgh Steelers in the first part of the football game certainly put their offense at a disadvantage, but they still got it done defensively.
We'll be back in a moment.